Hello everyone, back with that other video. This one's going to be the walkthrough on the first chapter of Dolores Canon's book, Between Life and Death. I'm just walking to this spot that I found a while ago. It's quite cool, so I just thought I'd record me going there, introduce it, and then when I get there I'm going to pause the video and then I'll edit it so there's another part and that's the cover of it. It's quite cold, man. It's cold out, to be honest. And it's around 4 o'clock now. 4:15, so it's nippy. The sun sets in around 10 minutes. I would have liked to be out earlier, but you know, hey ho, this is what we're dealing with. So basically, Dolores Canon, she's an author and a hypnotherapist, and she's an author because of her hypnotherapy and all of the hypnotherapy she's done around the world. She's done it in England, she's done it in Peru, America, Africa, all over the world, and she's got different views from different people and all of that. But one thing is that I want to state is that every time she's done this, she gets the same answer from every person. So it kind of gives it validation, if you know what I mean. It's like if somebody says something and you're like, okay, I don't really believe that person. But then there's 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people that have all said the same thing. Then there's a bit more validation there. Now you have a little bit more of a reason to believe what that person is saying. And this is what goes on in this book. Speaking to people from all different religions, different backgrounds, different cultures, different jobs, different everything, completely different lifestyles, and a lot of them are all saying the same thing, that, you know, life is beautiful and we look at it as death is the end of it all, and that's wrong. Death can't be the end, because consciousness can never be destroyed, energy can never be destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed into something else. So, you know, when you die, your personality will continue. You'll still have that consciousness, that awareness. You know, it's not going to be just void or just darkness. That's what people think, you see. People have this idea that death is a finishing, a cutting off, an ending of life, that nothing comes after it. And it is such a bad way to think about life, because how can that be true? And we will all see when the death experience happens, the truth, what really happens afterwards. I'm not scared of death. And people probably think I'm crazy for that. Like, how can you not be scared of death? Death's a terrible thing. You know, how could you not be scared of leaving behind all this and that? And I'll put it this way. We live many lifetimes. You know what I mean? So, if we're living multiple lifetimes, what is death? It's an evolutionary cycle. As it says in this book, it's purely an evolutionary cycle, so that new life can incarnate into the physical, and life that's already experienced its lessons can leave. You know what I mean? It's not scary. And in this book I've read, you begin to see that the death experience will only happen temporarily. It'll happen like for a split second or for a specific amount of time, and then as soon as it's over, you're aware in another place. You're not here anymore, but technically you are for a second, because you're watching your body, as I was saying in this book. You're aware that you've exited your body, but now you're not physical anymore. You're spiritual. You're basically a ghost. but not a poltergeist. That's what people think, man. People think that ghosts are scary, but ghosts are not scary. They're either souls that have become stuck in the astral, who don't know how to move on, or they're beings that are still here watching over loved ones. It's not scary. We've been made to believe that it's scary, but it's really not. It's not scary. Anyway, I got to my spot, so I'm going to restart this and edit it in, and you'll see some of the evidence from this book that backs up the claims that I'm making currently. Guys, I'm back. So, I'm just going to run through the first things, because to be honest, in the walk I talked about a lot of things anyway that I've got written down here, and then what I'm going to do is at the end of that, after I've finished speaking about that kind of stuff, I'm going to give the actual examples, because she's a hypnotherapist, and the answers that I'm giving in this book here, what I'm reading out, is from a point of view, it's from a perspective, it's from the person that she's doing hypnotherapy on. It's what they're saying back to her, because, put it this way, so she'll lie them on a bed and she'll put them into a hypnotherapy, and then she'll let them have an experience astrally or whatever it is. They'll let them have this experience, this out of body experience. That's what she'll do, and this person, whatever they're witnessing at the time, is relaying back to her, and she's writing it down in a book. Bearing in mind, she was doing this years and years and years ago. 2003 I think it was, when she was getting this information. So you can imagine, this is a very, very, very long time ago. She wrote the book in, I think it's 2013 or something. It's a bit later on. So over the years, the 10-year span, let's say, of her doing the hypnotherapy and getting all these experiences, she's based one book off certain experiences between life and death, or death and life, it's called, between death and life. And then she's made another book, which is the other one that I've already read, which is The 3 Ways of Volunteers and A New Earth. So the information that she's gained from that, she put into one book. The information she's gained from that, she put into another book. And you know, she's done UFO sightings and things like that, and abductions, and she made a book about that as well. So here we go. So death is nothing to fear. That's the first thing. Birth and death are evolutionary cycles that each person goes through many times. Hello. Little dog, man. People see death as a cutting off, a finishing, a black void of nothing, only because it is unknown. I love dogs, man. Only because it's unknown, because this is the thing about humans. What we don't know, we fear. And you know, that's not me just saying something just from my experience. It's true. If you don't know what could happen, you normally fear what it is that you're doing or what is happening, because you're like, what could happen here? I'm scared of what may happen. And it's the same with death. We don't actually know physically what death is or what the afterlife is, because we've never been there physically, because you can't go there physically, because that wouldn't be the death process. The death process is a soul physically leaving the vessel. So you to go there physically, it's impossible. So you fear it. You think that you're leaving behind all this world, but you've done it millions of times. The personality remains the same when the body has died. Religious beliefs, or lack of, had no effect on the response. They all said the same thing. That is really, really important. I cannot stress that enough, because what you'll hear a lot of people say is, well, my religion doesn't support this, my religion says this, my religion says that, my belief says this, my belief says that. Well, this literally puts it into perspective that no matter where you're from, no matter what culture, religion, belief system, whether you're an atheist, whether you're agnostic, whether you believe in one God, whether you believe in multiple gods, whether you believe that there's no God, doesn't matter. If you do this hypnotherapy, according to the book, you will say the same thing that everybody else said. You will experience the same thing that everybody else experienced. And that is really, really important. Why is that important? That's important because it shows that it doesn't matter what you believe, The truth is the truth, and it cannot be twisted or changed. On a deep enough perspective, the only thing you can do to cover up the truth is lie, but lies will always fizzle out. You can never keep a lie going forever. You can't. It'll get bought out, 100%. So the human body is limited in terms of wisdom, and the soul is not. So we know everything. We know everything because we're part of the Creator. We are fragments of the Creator. We have all the wisdom and knowledge we could possibly need for anything. But the physical body is what limits us. The physical body and the limitations of the 3D, and feeling like you're not enough, or like you're not a god, or you're not this. So how can you know that? How can you be all-knowing? How can you have all this power? Because you're a part of the Creator. You know everything. Everything you know is within. It's all inside of yourself. It's in your soul. Your soul has the records and the knowledge and the spiritual wisdom. It has it all embedded into it. So moments after this woman died, she felt delighted. And this is the speech bubbles now. This is how she came across to Dolores Canon. This is what she said to Dolores Canon when she was in hypnotherapy. I'm in the light and alone, and it feels good. She feels intelligent. She feels at peace. She feels calm. She doesn't need anything. So she's now on the other side, and everything's better. Everything's peaceful. Everything's loving. Everything's caring. Everything's amazing. It's not blackness and void. So then she entered the resting phase. And Dolores says in the book, there's no point trying to bring someone back when they've entered the resting stage, because this is what souls do when they just leave. They go into resting stage, and then who knows how long they might be there for. Who knows how long they could be there for, resting, healing, ready to incarnate somewhere else, or reincarnate in another 3D world to gain the same experiences. You can't wait them, because they could be resting for ages before they're ready to go back. So this woman was reliving a birth. This is the next one. She couldn't push the baby out, and she got too tired, so she just left her body. She was like, I can't do this anymore. So she left her body, and she described the other side as pure and simple, where all knowledge is, relating back to what I just said about the soul, and about how it has all the spiritual wisdom, all the knowledge embedded into it. On the other side, it's all knowing. It's all knowing. Every information is there. I've read some other stuff, and I've seen a YouTube video that Dolores Canon done that said that there's a library, and she talks about this in the Free Waves as well. She mentions a library where the Akashic records are, all the records of life and souls in the whole cosmos, the whole universe, the whole multiverse, everything. It's all recorded down, and there's the same library talked about in this book, the same library with all the information. So yeah, she has a sense of incompletion. Pain is one thing that she must overcome. So it's only a lesson, she says. She says, I gave up. Instead of going through it and dealing with it, I gave up. And she says, the next time, she will deal with the pain. She will overcome pain. She will use pain as the lesson that it is. Because pain is a lesson. Whenever you're in pain, it's usually because you need to learn something from that. That's why you're feeling that pain. You're feeling it because you need to overcome that what is making you feel that pain, in order to not feel the pain anymore and move on from it. So yeah, pain is only a lesson. When she's in the body, it feels heavy. People carry problems around with them like weights. When they die, it's like tossing them out the window. So you're going through your whole life and you're in this vehicle. Picture life as a road that has all kind of turns, and it goes all different places, up mountains, across streams, over bridges, all round, and you're meeting different people, you're seeing different things, and every time you see or hear or take something into your aura or your life, it goes into your vehicle and you're carrying it around with you. and spiritual healing, like cleansing, meditating, releasing of these thoughts, releasing of these experiences and overcoming them, is like slowly chucking them out the window. But you can't chuck them all out your window, because obviously when you're about to die, there's so much baggage that you've kept your whole life, and now it's time to dispose of that. And when you go to the other side, this is when you toss them all out the window. This is when all the worries and all the pain and all the trauma and all of the drama and everything that you ever experienced in your life can finally be released. There you go. Just swish, and it's all gone. A woman dies of old age. This is another one. This is another experience. This is the next one. A woman dies of old age, but instead of passing on, she wants to go back to the house, but she's in spirit form. If you understand what I'm trying to say to you, this is a woman that's having this experience. The woman is telling Dolores what she's seen. So she's seen herself die of old age. And then she's seen herself. She's moving herself back to the house where she died. And she's there and she's in spirit form. So she can't do nothing. Let's say, for example, she needed to do the washing. Or, I don't know, there was something she needed to write down, or a shopping list she needed to make, or she'd left the bed untidy and she remembered. She's gone back to the house and she tried to do it, and her hand's just gone straight through the object. She's walked through the wall. She's just gone into the wall, through the wall, and she's trying to pick stuff up and her hands are just going straight through it, because she's not physical anymore. She still thinks she's physical because she hasn't let go of it. She hasn't let go of the death experience. She doesn't understand what's happened. So therefore, her hands are going through the object and she's like, what is going on here? And then, when she understands that she can no longer do anything because she's in spirit form, she can no longer do anything physically because she's in spirit form, she is then taken to this hilltop, this valley, and her husband is with her. A husband who recently passed away as well is stood next to her, and they're watching their whole life ahead of them. They're watching their whole life just in front of them. And they're being shown all this. Oh, do you remember when we went on this date there? Do you remember when we went to France? Do you remember when we went to Switzerland? Do you remember when we had that dinner party? Do you remember our wedding day? All of this is all being shown to her, and she's getting to view it all and see how amazing her life was, and all of the good things that happened in her life, but then all of the bad things, because you got to have that balance, ain't you? You know, you got to have the good and the bad, because that's how experience comes. So she's seeing all this, and then that's it, off they go, both of them now, move on, leave the earth plane, and that's it. She described the analogy of life and the death experience as this: many people in a forest are scared of the wild animals and the dark woods. They're walking through the forest, it's dark, there's animals around, there's beasts, and they're scared. Once they're out the forest, there's no fear. This is death. Leading up to death, your whole life, you think, how am I going to deal with this experience if it's so traumatic, so deadly, so negative, so awful? How? How would you walk through that forest? Brave it all the way through until you finally get through the last shrub, the last tree, and now it's sunshine and rainbows, and now it's colourful and it's beautiful and it's clear, and there's meadows in front of you, and there's no more beasts, and that is what death is like. For a split second you're dead, and then straight after you're like, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. What's going on? I can still see what's going on around me. And you've got all that knowing, so you already know what's happening. You already know that now you've passed on. So yeah, when we're asleep, this is one last thing to add. I think this is the last thing I've got written down. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. when we're asleep, our spirit leaves the body due to boredom. This is like an additional thing. This is something just to think about. When we're asleep, our spirit leaves the body. So we're snoozing, our spirit is bored because it's a soul, and the physical body is now lying there asleep, and the soul now, because it never sleeps, thinks, what am I going to do? I'm not going to sit here and wait 8 hours for this body to rest and come back. I'm off on my travels. It's going to go off to the astral. It's going to go off into different parts of the world. Not physically, astrally, because your soul is not physical, so it's going to go wherever it wants to astrally. So it's going to go all over the world. It's going to go to different planets. It's going to go through the universe. It's going to do all of this shit. And then it's going to come back. And it's because there's a cord. It's going to have adventures all over the universe. And then, oh, my hands are so cold. It's really hard to open this book. Yeah, there's a cord, the silver cord or something like that. I know it's called that, the silver cord or the silver thread. And it's like an umbilical cord that attaches your soul to your body, so that when your body wakes up, your soul knows to come back, and it will come back. And that's why in some cases you'll have somebody doing astral projection, and somebody will try to wake them up, and they'll probably be awake astrally, so they'll be aware that somebody's tried to wake them up, but they won't be able to wake up. Like, there's some experiences where somebody will astral projection, projecting, get my words right, and somebody will shout them or call their name, and they'll hear it, but they won't wake up. And the parents think that they're dead, or the parents think that something's wrong, but they're not. There's nothing wrong with them. And the last thing I've got written down is there's just a dog looking at me down there. And a little kid probably wondered what I was doing. It's probably triggering things in his brain, thinking, what's that guy doing out there in the forest at this time? Our life is planned out on the spirit side before incarnating, including our exit and the people we meet. That's the last thing I've got to talk about, and then I'm going to end this. So, soul contracts, what are they? Soul contracts are contracts with other souls, so you meet them in this life and they give you an experience. Hence twin flame. Hence that person that was your friend for 20 years and then did you dirty, and now you don't speak to them anymore, because that was just a contract. It was just a soul contract with that person, with that soul, so that you would meet them, they would wrong you and you would overcome it, so that you could have that experience. Twin flame, you'd experience love, commitment, a relationship, and that person would be your contract. Some of your family even maybe soul contracts. There's a lot we don't know, man, and this is only the first chapter, so tune in for some more. I'll be back probably fortnightly, because what I'm probably going to do is I'll make one video that's just about things that I have planned. I have a few video ideas, so I'll make one video to do with that. I think the next one may be about Taoism, trust in the universe, something along those lines. So you got the one video about that, and then the following week you'll have the second chapter of this, and so on until the book is finished. So make sure you tune in, don't miss out, and peace out, spiritual beings. I hope you have a good week, because it's Sunday, so Monday tomorrow, it's a new week, start a new cycle. Maybe just do something different, try to better your life in some way. That is what you should be aiming for. You should be aiming to do better every single day for yourself, not for competition, not because you want to compete with anything, not because you want to be better than anything, or you want to, like you're in competition. Not because of that. Purely because if you make your life better for yourself, you'll receive better experiences, and the things that you thought could never come true will come true. So, peace out, everyone.